Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to a brand new video on the channel. My name is Connor. It's so great to see you back here. I hope you're keeping well. As you may know, yesterday I put a poll on my story on Instagram and you guys voted on the theme of today's video. Now I have the results and we're going to go straight into it. It is going to be the transition between auto and manual when you're using your DSLR. There are going to be 3 topics around this theme that I'm going to be covering today, and hopefully you find this informative and it helps you make that transition. So the 3 main topics that I'm going to be touching on today are going to be shutter speed, aperture and ISO, and how to leverage these to get the photos that you want rather than the ones that you're given, as what happens when you're stuck in auto. Getting such photos that you want is so hugely important because it's going to help you develop as a photographer. Even if you're just a hobbyist, it'll help you develop that style, that unique look that you're going for, and also in post-editing. If you're looking to get into editing, then this is also going to help because you can take photos for the edit that you want to make. Let's say you want to blow out those highlights or bring down those shadows to get more of a moody tone going on in the scene. You can use these 3 things to your advantage to get your own style, your own unique look, your own unique take on this whole scene or what's happening in the photo itself. So moving on swiftly, let's get into the first of the 3 topics we're going to be talking about today, which is numero uno, shutter speed. How I like to look at shutter speed is relating it directly to time. It makes sense because the shorter the amount of time that you expose your sensor to the scene, it's going to allow you to capture that one moment without introducing any extra motion blur. Relating that to longer exposures, which means that the shutter is going to open and close much more slowly, this can have some really cool effects as well. Let's say you're in a really busy street and you just want to capture the street itself. Everybody that's going to be walking down that street or anything that's going to be passing through the frame is not going to be captured because the sensor is only going to pick up everything that is at a standstill. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to be using my trusty old Canon 750D. I'm just going to be releasing the shutter at a high shutter speed versus a lower shutter speed, and you'll be able to see yourself the difference. Now moving to a slower shutter speed, let's say 1/10. As you can see, the difference is huge between those. That time of exposure is going to allow you to capture something at a standstill versus introducing motion blur and the light that's going to be allowed to hit the sensor to catch that photo. So next up, we're going to be moving on to our second point, numero dos, which is aperture. Now, when we're talking about aperture, there are 2 main things that we're going to consider. On one hand, it's going to be the depth of field, and on the other, the F numbers. Now with the depth of field, it's going to be all the in focus elements versus the out of focus elements, and that correlates to the F number. Now the F number, the higher the F number, the more elements that are going to be in focus versus out of focus, and the lower the F number, the more shallow the depth of field is going to be, which means that more elements are going to be out of focus versus in focus. For example, let's say you're using a smaller F number like 2.8 or 1.4. Let's say the space in between my hands is going to be everything that's in focus, and everything in front right here and on the far side it's going to be everything out of focus. So as you start moving that F number up to, let's say, towards 22 or so, all those out of focus elements are going to start coming into focus. So in between my hands here is everything in focus, and it's a wild difference between f1.8 or f1.4 or something like that. And the further up that you go with the F numbers, the iris on the lens itself is going to close, which means less light is going to get through the lens to the shutter and subsequently to the sensor. Which then segues us into the next topic, which is going to be the ISO. The ISO is pretty simple, so it is the sensitivity towards the light coming into the camera. Now generally speaking, it is a bit of a rule of thumb to keep the ISO as low as possible, because when you start bumping up to higher ISOs in, let's say, low light situations, you start introducing a lot more noise into your photos, which is why sometimes they may come out a little bit grainy or so. This again can be compensated by using lower F numbers, slower shutter speeds to really bring down that ISO so you have some really nice, sleek, clean looking shots. To summarize, number 1, the shutter speed, the time at which the shutter is going to be open and closed, exposing the sensor to light. The aperture, with the iris opening and closing, is going to control your depth of field. Everything out of focus versus in focus. And ISO is the sensitivity of the camera to the light coming in. I hope you found this helpful. I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope you like it, and guys, if you have any more questions, be sure to leave a comment down below or shoot me a message anytime. I'll do my best to help you out. I'm so grateful I get to do this for you guys, so stay safe, stay positive, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.